The coronavirus. Let's get the updates from someone who lives in San Francisco. They just had one case out there in California, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the coronavirus, and hopefully you get some information. It is February 27th, 2020. Explain to me the coronavirus, what you know, like what is the coronavirus?
I'm not a medical practitioner in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's a very bad cold, a very, very bad cold. In the simplest layman's terms, that deals with the respiratory system. One of the ways they found that it passes from human to human is by simply sneezing, coughing. Everything that you imagine a regular cold or flu would have. But for whatever reason, this one seems to be very efficient at, defeating our defenses.
Yeah.
It's very good at defeating the medicine, and it spreads incredibly quickly, like insanely quickly. So the way that China was able to get a handle on it is by doing massive quarantines. Like no one in, no one out. You stay in your house, and that's it. Period. And they were able to do a much better job than some other countries in controlling the virus. Because it's basically, as long as it's simple. If you keep sick humans away from healthy humans within 14 days, essentially you'll be in a better place. But if you have no way of controlling who talks to who connects with who, that's how it's able to spread across the world. So right now it's in many, many countries all over the world.
So what is
that's why I know it's
So the actual problem, of course, nobody wants viruses around, but the actual problem is that elderly are getting sick and dying. Everyone's getting sick. Like it's just going to be a pandemic. Like what makes this so much worse?
Well, in my opinion, from what I've heard and seen, is that people who are incapable of fighting a regular virus, like a regular cold, people die from the flu at not an incredibly high rate, but they do die from the flu. They do die from the common cold. So you have a virus that is able to fight against our antibiotics, or able to fight against our medicines, then those people who are in higher risk won't be able to survive. That's the elderly, the incredibly young, or those who are immune deficient. So those are three segments of the population that are small but are important. So it's I was telling my wife earlier about like anti-vaxxers, people who have children that might be incredibly susceptible to any type of virus. It doesn't matter where the virus is coming from. Those are the ones that we have to worry about. And even elderly who are sick and their bodies aren't able to fight off those type of diseases. So it's pretty it's not that very insidious disease. It's just a natural evolution of the diseases that are already in the world. It makes sense that there's going to become stronger and stronger bacteria, stronger and stronger viruses that we have to fight against. And always the first ones who are the ones who are hurt are going to be the elderly, the sick, and the very, very young. So this is just this is basically nature taking its course at the end of the day.
Yeah. So what makes this so much? So what makes it worse is that, but also the spreading it is very, very easy. Air, water, cough, sneezing, touching the door handle after you touch your...
Every way that you can catch a cold, you can catch this virus. So it's, if you're in a crowded elevator and someone sneezes who has the virus, then, everyone in that elevator has a high probability of catching the virus.
And if you're healthy, if you're, 30 years old, healthy, you don't get sick much, what's it going to do to you?
See, I'm imagining, because there are the numbers of people that are dying compared to people that actually have the virus makes me believe, and like I said, I don't have any type of numbers or facts or anything like that, but it makes me believe that the stronger and healthier you are, the better you are equipped to fighting against it.
Yeah.
So you look at another disease like the Ebola virus. The Ebola virus kills you. It doesn't matter. You can be the healthiest man in the world, and it'll still take you out. So the Ebola virus is indiscriminate in who it kills. But it seems like this virus is able to, because the virus doesn't want its host to, at the end of the day, a virus absolutely does not want its host to die. Because if the host dies, then it loses its food source, it loses its meaning, its reason for being, right?
Yeah.
So, a successful virus is able to keep its host sick without killing it. So it's Ebola virus, on the other hand, kills everything. It's a plague of death, which is really hard to control. So this virus isn't that, but it's definitely showing the holes in our system. Like our ability to. I mean, for example, if we know for a fact that if we know from conjecture that the virus came from Wuhan, China, how the hell was it able to spread so far and wide? And then you can start seeing the different holes in the system, such as China purposely stopping the first doctor who noticed it from speaking out, or attempting to quarantine it themselves without warning other countries fast enough. And then it'll show this virus is showing the holes in our system more than anything else, I would say.
Yeah, it's funny. So I pulled up the stats. This is from worldometer.info. And it says 82,784 have caught the virus, 2,817 deaths, 33,350 recoveries.
Exactly. So if you, looking at, like I said, I'm not part of that group, but when you look at like the Ebola virus, when it swept through West Africa, you saw the mortality rate was incredibly high. Like it was literally house full of dead bodies. So this virus doesn't do that. Thank God.
Yeah. Well, so it's been around for a little over 1 month. It's been January 22nd, yeah. And they have 3,000 something deaths.
Yeah.
So 3,000 in a month. You're looking at, and it'll and that's only that's 1 month of it, mostly being in Asia.
Yeah, being all of Asia, Russia, and those parts of the world.
Now they said the first case in Ireland just came out today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First case in Ireland, and then you have Iran, Italy. The UK is going to get hit pretty hard.
Yeah, as long as people are smart, another rash that's another unintentional consequence of this sickness is that there's lots of racism against Chinese people. For example, like people feel that the Chinese them specifically are the ones who are carrying and spreading the disease, and that's not true. So I just think people should really check out the CDC and see the facts about the disease and how it can affect you, how it affects your part of the world, because they have a map. And you can say, okay, well, I'm in the western part of the United States. This is how many cases we have. This is the alert level. And this is what I should worry about. So as long as people just simply get good information from the CDC and the World Health Organization, WHO, I think we'll be in a good space. Usually the disease isn't what causes most of the damage. It's usually how people react to the disease.
Yeah.
For example, we were talking about HIV earlier, because, initially for whatever reason, some people in power thought that HIV only affected gay people. That was low on the priority list. They say, oh, well, it's just a disease that's only affecting this group that I dislike anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Just to find out that was a critical error. And so by them making that critical error because of how they reacted to the disease, it created a problem that completely encased the entire world. So that's so I'm always more worried about the human factor than the disease itself. The disease will run its course. We'll come up with medicine. People will come up with immunity. We'll be fine. Diseases come and go. Viruses come and go, even bad ones. But the way humans react to those diseases is the things that usually cause the stock market to crash like it's doing right now.
Yeah. For
people to have runs on supermarkets and buy up all the food. For people to, here in California, here in San Francisco, people are letting go of their springtime staff out worried for the virus. But then you ask yourself, what are those people who are getting let go? How are they going to be able to take care of their own families and their own lives? So their lives are being impacted, even though the disease technically isn't a pandemic yet. It's not affecting us.
Yeah.
So it's so it's the human factor I worry about more so than the virus itself. The virus will run its course. We have the best scientists in the world fighting against it, and governments are really paying attention, and it's in their own self-interest to make sure to protect its populace. But it's how we act, the general populace around the world, how we treat Chinese people, how we make sure that we keep ourselves clean and healthy and safe, and how we react to the disease as it progresses.
Well, yeah, the Dow in the last 5 days is down 3,000 points in just 5 days. And then on top of that, you have like people getting sick all over the world. That's going to get worse. And then you also have people can't get supplies from China. I mean, it's a trickle effect. I mean, no matter what, you're going to be affected by this disease, no matter what.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, by one way or another,
Yeah.
Especially if you, I mean, like, we have an importing company, and there's, I told you before that there's parts that me and my wife went, because it's in a part of China that's affected.
Yeah.
And we're just a tiny coffee importer. Could you imagine much bigger companies that have millions and billions of dollars on the line that don't have the luxury to just simply say, I'll wait. Like, we can wait for that part. It's okay. Other companies don't have that luxury. Shippers, truck drivers. There's a whole host of individuals that are affected either in small ways or in large ways, or at the worst case scenario, the least case scenario, that they just won't have work. If we get less, if we get less objects from China, then that means we need less shipping staff. We need less, drivers. So there's so many confounding variables that will be affected because of this disease, and how governments react to it, and how they educate their populace about it, and how they're able to mitigate the damage. So, for what you said earlier about the virus doesn't work well in hot, warm weather, people are saying that, but if we don't know that's a fact, people might not take proper precautions if they're in a hot climate. There's cases in Brazil. Brazil's rather hot, so it's just from the just from that little bit, from that one single data point, it calls into question that particular claim. So just the biggest enemy right now, in my opinion, is misinformation and hysteria. Yeah.
Well, it's the one thing that we haven't had in this country, which I always thought was going to come at some point. I think it comes once. I have this theory, and maybe I heard it somewhere, or maybe I came up with it. I don't know. That everything happens once in your lifetime. So there's a financial depression or a really bad financial era in everyone's lifetime. There's a time when a sickness goes around that's really going to be remembered for 100 years. All that type of stuff. We haven't had where you go to the supermarket and you can't get what you need either.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you look at the average age of a human, that makes a lot of sense, because we always have our. The things that happen might change slightly, but they're basically the same. And because there's so many of us now, we absorb damage much more. I remember when they were talking about they had a shooting here in San Francisco at I believe it was a mail, some type of company that deals with mail. And not too many people passed away. Maybe it was 19 or 20. And people usually would get upset. They said, well, 19, 20 is a lot. Well, on that same day, there was an attack in Yemen, and over 2,500 people were killed. So it's if you look at it on the grand scope of things aren't as bad as they could be. So 2,000 deaths in a month is bad, but it could be a lot worse, right?
Yeah.
So it's I just think if we just give people a lot of counterfactuals just to put things into perspective. Like I said, if you follow good practices, there's a lower probability of you getting sick. Such as if you're sick, stay home. Make sure that you cover your mouth when you cough and sneeze. Wash your hands really, really well. Don't do things that would put you into harm's way.
Well, what's funny? So I was talking to my cousin, and he said that he went on Amazon. He couldn't get masks. Like they're back ordered till April or something like that. Now there's got to be masks somewhere, but I don't know what kind of mask he was trying to get. But in Florida, when the hurricanes and stuff happens, there's always generators always run out. Like you can't get a generator in Florida.
Makes sense.
You can't get water. But what happened 2 weeks before the news came out with that a hurricane's coming? Why can't people get out and get a generator now or get their water now? And same thing with the masks or whatever. It's when stuff happens, it just comes in like an ocean wave, fast and strong.
Procrastination. We're here in San Francisco. We're right on the fault, so we're always worried about the next big one coming, like that happened in the '80s. That's always fear on everyone's mind. But do people have preparations for it? Probably not. Not really.
Yeah.
But if they say, okay, next week is absolutely going to happen, believe me, everyone and their mother's going to do what it takes in order to be okay. So it's just the way society is. We don't really worry until we have to worry. No one was really worried about the virus until it was on our shores. And then no one was really worried about the virus until it's in your state. And now people don't really worry about the virus until it's only one city away, like it is for us. Sacramento is pretty damn close to me.
Yeah. And there's one case in Sacramento now, or more?
Well, one case. This one woman. So they just started talking about her today. There's not that much information whatsoever about it. So their information is still coming out currently.
So if there's one, there's got to be two, at least.
It's I just think it's interesting that that's a little bit. At least for me, that's pretty close to home. From not worrying about if a person's not from one particular part of China to someone who is within a drive from here. Yeah. I can drive to Sacramento right now, no problem. So that's definitely problematic. San Francisco has a emergency. She initiated the emergency, even though she told us not to be worried. Mayor London Breed. So
yeah, well, what I was trying to say is the woman didn't catch it. Someone didn't sneeze in China, and it got airborne and flew all the way over to California.
Exactly.
So somebody, you were saying about the people came over, or the boat that was docked or whatever it was.
Yeah, down south, yeah.
So at least one person had it. If it was the boat, at least one person had it on that boat, which means probably their wife or whoever is another person, because they probably held hands, kissed her, whatever. And so now you have three people, and then boom, it just starts going. Maybe
it starts spreading. Yeah, that's the worry, because once it starts spreading, it's seemingly, especially someone made a really good point this morning. And the reason why I sent you that legal video about the quarantine, we don't do that. Us as a country, we don't do that. So China was able to quarantine cities. Like, could you imagine the city of Tampa being say, "Oh yeah, no one can leave your house in Tampa, and I dare you to come outside." Like, we don't do that. We can't do that. People wouldn't listen. So I wonder what would happen if those type of quarantines are necessary in order to keep the contagion down. And how people will react to it, because I can't imagine Americans being okay with that.
Well, have you been in an emergency situation in California?
And no, me personally, no, I have not. I have been in Philadelphia. I've been in a quarantine, and because certain parts of Philadelphia, when it gets too rowdy, that they start spreading out certain sections, and you have to stay inside your house. At least in North Philly and what have you, in South Philly. And I know how it rankles. it rankled me when that happened.
Wait, I didn't know they did that. So what happened?
Oh, so like in South Street, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And how sometimes, like during the Greek, it gets too crazy and it's like too many people.
Yeah.
So the police create an epicenter. The epicenter is usually around my house, like near maybe 5th Street, 5th and South.
Yeah.
And they start making an ever-widening circle. And if you are in the house, you can't come outside the house. If you live in the house that was in the area, you can't go to your house. And you have to keep spreading out until the police feel that the crowd's dispersed enough. So when I was dating my wife, it happened twice during a summer that was really busy. And one time we were stuck in the house. The cops said we can't come outside. And one time we were outside. They wouldn't let me go to my house. And I know how upset I was. I'm a pretty rational individual. Yeah. So it's I imagine how other people would feel. And that's just a tiny little thing. That's just a safety precaution because it was too many people on the street.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if that happens because of a sickness?
No, I can't imagine because, you take somewhere like Florida, it's shaped like almost like an eggplant or something, or a banana, whatever you want to say. It's long and narrow as far as states go. And if Miami, Tampa, Tampa's not even that south. Let's say Miami, Naples, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Palm Beach, whatever have you, even Orlando, Tampa, you have got to get out of the state and you got to drive north. There's no way you can't. Say you're in the center of Pennsylvania, you can go anywhere. Northwest, northeast, south, whatever. You're going to hit something. You can leave. In Florida, you have to. There's I think three roads that you can basically take, to get out. And once something happens, they're jammed. You can't leave. So you have to leave at 10 at night. I mean, as soon as you hear they're evacuating, people are leaving, whatever, you got to get in the car. You can't even think. And then you have to stop and get water, and there's lines everywhere. So,
yeah.
And there might not be water. I remember I was in a Walmart, and they were waiting for regular water because people didn't want to pay. And I paid $10 for a 6-pack of some kind of fancy seltzer water or something. I think it was like $7 or 10.
Yeah, you do what you gotta do, man. Yeah, me and my wife, we're going shopping tonight to buy appropriate supplies, just in case.
Oh, so is that what most people are doing?
I mean, it's wise, because it's something. Like I always say, if something happens, I'd rather be overprepared than underprepared.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a bottle of water doesn't go bad. Buying non-perishable goods, beans and legumes and nuts. Those things last forever. And if something does happen for whatever reason, me and my family don't have to worry about eating for a month or so.
Yeah.
But if I buy things like fish and meat and shrimp and stuff like that, and I'm just living it day by day like we've been doing, that'll be a big problem if tomorrow, for whatever reason, we can't get to the store.
Or something happens. Yeah. Can you imagine if something went wrong with the electricity and the coronavirus?
Oh man, we have electricity problems all the time. PG&E, they can't wait to shut off our electricity.
Yeah.
Because we're partially in a danger zone where I live. So when they do the great shut off of electricity, my house is affected.
Well, that's what I said, man. You better go get your generator. Probably cost you.
Get a generator now, But what do we need energy for, man? As long as we're able to have candles and heat. We live in California, so it's warm during the day and nice at night. We live next to the beach. It's okay. We'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, I people that have generators, they're always the life of the party when something happens. Like if there's a storm, the whole neighborhood will go over there, put it in the generator will be in the garage. And
oh, yeah.
they're the life of the party, man. Everyone's, happy to see them. But, I mean... Yeah, I don't know, man. You live without electricity for a couple hours, people go crazy. I mean, they go nuts. So.
Yeah, we'll be. As long as everyone acts reasonable, I think we'll be fine. Hopefully, that's the. Everybody acting reasonable. That's a big ask, but I'm sure we'll be fine.
I don't know if I told you this, but I was in the mall. I was going to the Apple store. And I saw this Asian girl. I mean, I say girl, she might have been 23 years old. She might have been 16. I couldn't tell. She had a mask on, and she was small. But she was walking through, and I remember looking at her thinking, are you serious? That was my reaction. But she probably had family in Asia or something, and she's like ahead of the game. She's not going to be the first one that gets stuck. I know,
right?
I mean,
believe it. In Chinatown here in San Francisco, lots of people have masks and gloves.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be the hardest core person that has goggles because you can get into through your eyes. So they have goggles, they have a mask, and they have gloves. They say, "Okay, I'm ready."
Wow. Now,
I don't think we're there yet, but
no, we're not there. Can you catch this from animals or anything like that? Like if it gets, do they know?
I don't think it's I know it jumped over once, but I haven't heard anything about jumping over to another species again.
Yeah.
Essentially they said that the issue was that that was what happened, was a cross species disease. And when it jumped to a human, that's where the problem started. And then that one human started patient zero started spreading it around and it started going worldwide. But you haven't heard it jumping to another species again. And we're not that. The only animals that we're really close to are just basic domesticated animals. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. Because even if you do happen to give it to your dog, what's the chances of your dog giving it to other dogs and then that dog giving it to its master? I don't know.
Well,
I hope things are viruses and diseases don't seem to work that way as far as I know.
Yeah.
But that would be really problematic.
Yeah, seriously. I have one other question. So, and this has to do with Medicare. So, if someone catches the coronavirus, they go into the hospital or whatever. What is the average that they're in there?
Oh, what happens if they have it when they're in the hospital?
No, if they catch the coronavirus, what is the protocol? They go to the hospital. They go, what?
Oh yeah, they go to the hospital. The hospital. I mean, you go to the hospital. You tell them about that you're having respiratory issues, and that you're afraid of. You can just tell them straight up. I'm having respiratory issues. I have a really bad cold. I don't know what's wrong with me. Can you test me? There's a special kit for the coronavirus. We only have, sadly, we only have 200 of them here in San Francisco or California, but they're getting more now. So I've heard. But they'll use the kit and they'll find out if you are infected, then they'll quarantine you. So it's a
quarantine you for what? 30 days?
I don't know how long they're quarantining people. I know initially they said 14 days, but now things are moving so quickly. I don't know anything about anything. It seems like every time you think you know one bit of information, they change it. But essentially, they will quarantine you if they find out that you have the virus, because you don't want to be in the hospital with a bunch of other patients and spread that around to everyone else.
Yeah.
Right. So the first step is stopping the spread at all costs. And as soon as we stop the spread, then we can hopefully worry more about helping and healing the people that are already sick.
Yeah.
But if we are, right now we don't. You just said another case appeared in Ireland. That's a problem. That means it's spreading faster than people are able to keep a handle on it.
Well, yeah, because it only takes one. They try to keep a handle on one area, and then it goes to another country. That's it.
Globalization. We are closer today than we were yesterday. So, like I said, I don't even know where Wuhan, China is. But absolutely, that is affecting me here in San Francisco, California.
Yeah.
So we are, we are a global people now. So it's time to really start thinking that way.
Well, yeah, I've talked to many people, especially, I've talked to small business owners where they can't get their products, whatever they need, like you said. Now, what do you get from China? Just like bags or some kind of designs or something like that?
Yeah, we actually want our B2C bags. We buying them here in California, they cost 19 cents a bag. Buying them in China, they cost 2 cents a bag.
Yeah.
So that's we just ran out of bags, and usually we just order a big. We order boxes of them, but obviously nothing's coming from China to us, at least to us small business owners right now.
Yeah.
So we're kind of stuck. So we're just not doing anything.
Yeah, well, there's
a big difference between 2 cents and 19 cents per bag for what we do. And,
yeah.
The margins are too small. The margins are too strong to ignore.
No, of course.
So,
I talked to one person that orders some kind of machines or something like that. They're $300 in China. They're $950 here.
Yeah, exactly.
So everything starts going up in price, but you're not making. So my product's going up in price, so I'm not making any money, and then your product's going up in price, and I can't pay you for your product because I don't have any money because my profit is going down, and now your profit's going down. Yeah, that's.
And you start knocking on the door of another Great Recession.
Yeah.
And this is not a good time to have a recession.
No.
If any time is a good time, but yeah, this definitely wouldn't be a good time. There's too many things. There's too many balls in the air right now. Brexit just happened. The United States and their trade deals are acting odd and peculiar. There's lots of things happening all over the world that this virus and a recession on top of that would be pretty detrimental. Who knows how bad it would be, but it definitely wouldn't help.
No.
Definitely wouldn't help.
Is a recession ever good? Probably not, but I don't know what it is, but for some reason, maybe I've been drinking too much coffee, but there's been an angst in the air for some reason. Not just even before the virus, but this. I don't think there's going to nip this in the bud for another, couple months at least. What do you think?
Yeah, I've heard a year and a half. So.
Oh man.
Everyone's speculating.
Now, another question is, so this isn't like the chickenpox, like you get it and then you won't get it again. Is it?
I don't think the scientists are that far yet, to tell you the truth. I mean, like, we're learning things as they come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't know that's true or not. We have no idea. You know, it could be yeah, you might gain immunity if you are able to survive it, and then you can give that immunity to your children. I mean, who knows? You know, it's right now it's just too early. You know, right now the only focus, in my opinion, that should be is just quarantine and stopping the spread of the virus by any means necessary.
Yeah.
You know, because after you stop it, or at least you mitigate it, then you can start having conversations about what's the next step. You know, and they can start studying it. But right now that everyone is starting to get progressively more frightened about them catching it, their family members catching it, them being unable to work, them being unable to travel. Like, there's too many balls in the air right now to think clearly.
Yeah.
You know, so it's even right now in Japan, they said they're still having the Olympics at the end of July, no problem. And it's so everyone's trying to keep calm. They're trying to keep everyone calm, even as things might be a little shaky.
Well, so, imagine that news flash. You know, everyone in the stands at the Olympics has a mask and goggles on. I mean, that will.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's that's problematic.
Yeah.
That's really problematic.
Man.
And I sent you the case about the religious group in Korea that was spreading the virus by intention or by accident. So it's yeah, right now it's too early to make any type of decisions. It's just good to get more information.
Okay, so there you have it. Coronavirus updates. This is February 27th, about 4:30 in the afternoon. Dow drops 1,100 points today. After news California is monitoring thousands of possible cases. Wow, Dow is really going down. We got you know, bit of a problem. But for Medicare purposes, one thing that you can say is that, you know, you have your Medigap plan, you have coverage. Go any type of respiratory problems or any signs of the coronavirus, you hear it's in your area, whatever, start to feel sick, you know, definitely try to keep you updated, but get yourself tested, get yourself to a hospital, you know, do what you have to do. Make sure you stay indoors, wash your hands, try to wear a mask if you can get one now. I mean, it's February 27th. You should be able to get masks somewhere. I would try to get them now before it's too late, because not too late, they might be handing them out at some point, but you never know. Thanks for watching. I'll see you at the next video.